All right, guys, we're going to talk about how to do a gait assessment on your own. So whether you're on a treadmill, whether you're doing this outside, you have a tripod, or you have somebody who's recording you, each way has its benefits, has pros and cons. The treadmill's probably the easiest, to be honest with you, to get those 4 angles, but it doesn't mean you can't do it outside. In the CrossFit gym here, I don't have a treadmill yet. All of mine I do outside in the street, in the road. Obviously, if you're gonna do it on a road, make sure it's not a very busy one. Sidewalks work pretty darn well. On a treadmill, guys, we'll talk about this first. We're gonna get right to it. We wanna get 4 angles. Angle in the front, left side, the back, and the right side, right? We wanna get at least a couple seconds of recording. So if you're on your own and you have a tripod, you're on a treadmill, spend 5 minutes just warming up, right? Just go easy, spend some time warming up. And then after you've warmed up, say, hey, record yourself at these 4 different angles at your typical easy pace, and then at least go a little bit faster, like a tempo run or something that's quicker. That way, right, sometimes these things don't really become noticeable unless we go a little bit faster. So feel free to do a slower one at your typical, if it's your easy run, 7-minute mile, 10-minute mile, whatever that is for you, do one at that pace and then say, hey, take a little break, get this camera set back up, whatever you want to do, bump it up to tempo pace. You can do a 5K pace too, whatever you want to do, right? There's a benefit to seeing that faster pace. But for the treadmill, right, if we have a treadmill here, all we're going to do with the camera is, it probably doesn't need to be this high. We can go a little bit lower. You can have it, if it's an iPhone, most people you're probably going to be on your iPhone. You can have it sideways. You can have it straight up, right? Each is fine. I like straight up personally on the treadmill. It works pretty well. So if the treadmill is over here, all right, we're going to get both side views. So what I want to see, I want to be able to see your foot, right, for the full swings of motion, especially when it hits the ground, all the way up to at least kind of this mid-dorsal area. I'd like to, if you can, get that shoulder, but at least up to here if you're kind of cramped for space. So that's on both sides, guys. You have to get both sides, right? One side might be overstriding, one side might not be. So there's a lot of stuff we have to know when we're doing this. And then the front, right? Sometimes you might have to pull that treadmill out if it's against the wall, but pull it out. You want to get this frontal view, right? It's going to let me know, are you weaving in and out? Are you kind of running a tightrope? What's going on with the arms? And for this one, it can be difficult on a treadmill. So I might not be able to see the arms, depending on where things are. But I at least want to be able to see hips, knees, the foot. If you can, I'd love to be able to see what the upper extremity is doing. I know there's a panel in the way. I get that. That's why some of the woodways, that panel is really far out so you can see more. And then in the back, right, you're going to grab the camera, go in this back view, and make sure your shirt is tucked in. All right, I want to be able to see what this hip is doing when you hit the ground. Is your hip dropping out? Is something crazy going on? So tuck the shirt in and wear wear shorts and a shirt that are contrasting colors if you can. So in my case, red and kind of blue, dark blue, navy blue, that's perfect, right? These 2 contrasting colors will work very well. And take about 5 seconds of it. If you can, use that slow motion setting on your iPhone in that case. Right, again, you want to make sure you have that warm up in. If you go cold, it might not be a very realistic reading. So, right, have at least a 5-minute warm up, spend some time doing that, and then boom, jump right into it. Okay, now we're going to talk about if you're doing this not on a treadmill, right? It's a little bit more complicated, but can still easily be done. We have our tripod here. There's a tripod way, right? So all you're going to do, this is probably the hardest, but can still be done, where the front view and the back view is very similar to on a treadmill, where if this is in front of me, the goal is I'm going to start, right, 100 feet back, 150 feet back, maybe 50 feet at the bare minimum. Do your warm-up before this, right? Same thing with the treadmill. We want at least a 5 to 10-minute warm-up, just easy running. Same thing here. We want to go that easy pace and that little bit faster pace, 10K race pace, 5K race pace, tempo threshold pace, right? A working out pace and seeing what that looks like. But for here, the goal is, this is straight in front of me. I'm going to run straight towards the camera and at the last second veer off. So I'm just doing my normal running, run. Last second, boop, just kicking out. Don't do this where you're running towards and then you're like, oh, I'm just going to kick out way early. those last couple steps that you're really close to the camera, those are some of the best ones we can look at. So try not to veer off to the side until the last second. And try not to stutter step. If you hit the camera, it's your iPhone, it's your money. But in all seriousness though, try not veer off or change your running form until you get to the last second. For the back view, same thing, contrasting colors we want to see here. Tuck that shirt in the back again. So this is going to be, this will be in front of me. I'm going to come behind it. I'm going to start running behind this thing. And the goal is, right, I've already ran about 30, 50 feet. Boop, I'm just going to cut right in, bam, and then go. So again, if I'm here, I'm going to cut, there's the camera, boom, cut right in, and then continue running straight away from the camera. If you can, right, if you're on a sidewalk, on a road, trying to stay in the center of the sidewalk, it's easy to line that camera up. If you're on a road, and if it's a not very well traveled road, if you know what I mean, less traffic, I don't want you to get hit by a car, you can use the white line. Don't run on the line and run like a tightrope, but you can use that as a guide to say, hey, stay generally in this area. Or if you're just on a back road, right, you can find a crack in it and say, hey, I'm going to use this crack generally, right? As you get farther away, it's not going to be as useful information. But those are the forwards and backwards view with the tripod. On the sides, this is where it gets a little more interesting, where, I mean, basically pretend you are the camera now, you're on the tripod. I'm going to get this out of the way. The goal is, I want you to take a couple of these, right? Because sometimes you might land here, you might land here, you might land here, excuse me, wrong side. You might land here, you might land here, or here. Again, this is atrocious running form, but you get the point. You might land right here. This is a perfect angle to look at, hey, where's your strike? Where's your center of mass? How's everything looking? How's your knee drive, right? So take a couple different recordings of this. Right, if I'm way out here and I'm trying to read this, it's going to be a little bit off. It's not going to be, right, it's going to be more guessing than it is actually getting a pretty good measurement. So take at least 2 recordings of the sideways angle, one going one way and one going the other way. You're just running through, right? I'm just here and I'm running through, and then you just go back the other way, run through. We can edit the videos, try not to send me a super long one, edit the time out that you had, right, taken in between. So just send me the parts of you actually running through the camera, not the time where you're not. And feel free, get a good amount of room, guys. Right? Don't be super up close to it. Don't be crazy far away. I'd say probably get probably 10 feet away is a good number. And you want to get, for this case, you could probably easily get the foot from the head. Really get all this stuff. So that's tripod, treadmill, tripod, no treadmill. And now we're going to talk about no tripod. So if you have somebody who's recording you, right, and there's a guy on YouTube I follow who when he does his gait assessments, he has somebody actually in the car, I believe they're in a car, and they're recording the person running and they're staying the same speed. What you can do is have somebody on a bike. One of my first patients I worked with, this is what she did. She had her brother on a bike record her running, basically following behind, right? If you're on the bike right now, I'm running in front of you, follow him behind. Again, that shirt's tucked in. Follow behind, right, at that same pace, and just trying to keep that camera, right, steady. If you're on a bike, it's probably easier than if you're trying to run behind somebody, it's just not it's gonna be bouncing all over the place. So a bike is a very good option to say, hey, I can hold this steady, and then, right, follow the person. For the frontal view, right, if the back's easy, you follow them in the front. A little bit tougher for that one. You can try and, right, come in front of the person and, I guess, ride the bike and look backwards. It's a little more dangerous. In that case, have them hold it, and then you're running towards it and moving away at the last second. For the side views, that's fine. For the side views, guys, all you have to do is on the bike, right? You're on the bike with them, and they're running on the side, and you're on the bike recording them, right? Obviously, please don't hit anything on the bike, but it's pretty easy with your iPhone. Just hold it there. Try and keep it. Try not to shake it so much, and just get that whole body view of them directly in line. So if you're on the bike right now moving forward, it should look like this. I shouldn't be way up here. I shouldn't be way back here, right? That's how it's done on the bike. Running, it's just too hard to run next to somebody, hold that camera steady. Guys, this is how to record a gait assessment 3 different ways. Easiest is a treadmill. I like the tripod method, but if you do have a friend or a significant other, boyfriend, person you just met at the park, whatever it is, whoever you can have help you with this on their bike. It's a great way to really get a pretty solid gait assessment without the trouble of, oh, I hate running on treadmills, treadmills suck, whatever your opinion of treadmills is. It's a great way to do a pretty darn good gait assessment and allow me or another practitioner to look at it and say, hey, I have a really good idea of how you're moving and here's how we can address your issues.